Hey there, everyone. This is Dave Andrews, author of the 30-Day Sobriety Solution, which I know many of you probably found your way to me through that book and to this video. And the 30-Day Sobriety Solution, as you might recall, the tagline, how to quit or cut back drinking in the privacy of your own home. And really been my purpose and passion in my life, especially for about the last 5 years, but really going back 11 and a half years ago when I first got sober. And I had the incredible blessing and opportunity to co-author this book with Jack Canfield, best-selling author and author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, and really just learn from one of the most loving and brilliant people I've had the honor to meet and experience in this lifetime. And I'm here in this unbelievably gorgeous place. I'm holding on to this magical crystal that I got here too from someone that I met. Just stunning. And then this beautiful backdrop behind me and at Kauai, Hawaii. And I'll share with you how I got here. I'm going to share a lot of stuff with you in this video, a lot of things that I hope will really be of service to you if you're looking to get sober or you're struggling with drinking or addiction. Certainly some things that I've learned over the years that I feel can really offer incredible value and be of service and help maybe you get to where I've been so blessed and lucky to get to with now 11 and a half years of sobriety. And why I'm in Kauai, I'll talk a little bit about that and how long I've been here for and some of my journey. I'll talk about some of the other things that is going on in my life and some of the things that might interest you. But mostly I want to kind of share where I'm at right now in my life and share this with you and share with you maybe some things that might help you in your journey and just connect, because for me, I crave connection and I crave healthy connection. And if you're wondering what these are, it's a Bose Bluetooth audio. Fantastic. I love them and I can use them for calls and stuff, but this is great for the recording. And I want to start by kind of talking a little bit about how I got here. So this is it's Easter weekend and a really pretty emotional experience for me right now, being 6,000 miles away from my daughters. And about 5 days from today, I'm spending the whole month of April in Kauai, Hawaii, and really to heal, to find myself in some ways, to kind of bring to a closure or to kind of move on from this journey I've had over the last 3 years, which has been life-altering in ways I've never imagined possible, never imagined some of the gifts I would get, but I never imagined some of the pain and hardship and fear and darkness that I would have to go through to get to this beautiful spot right here. And it truly transformed me in ways I never imagined. The book transformed me in ways I never imagined. And this casts a shadow over my entire life, the experience I've had this last 3 years. Because 3 years ago, next Thursday on Bring Your Daughter to Work Day, was the first time that my ex-wife and I, now ex-wife, told our kids we were divorcing. And at that time, they were 14 and 11. And one of the hardest things, for those of you that have shared that, incredibly hard. And I still have a vivid memory at 5 years old when my parents told me they were divorcing, and the sadness and crying and burying my head in the couch, and how influential that was in my entire life at that age. And then just having to know that was a path that I was headed down with my children was heartbreaking, especially after all the sobriety I had and work I did. But there's a miracle at the end of all this in my mind, and some beautiful miracles, and ones that I haven't even been able to really fully experience and bring into my life yet. But one of those miracles is drinking never entered my consideration. It truly, I had to be reminded by that, the people around me that said, what about your drinking? Do you want to drink? And I was reminded back when I went to AA, early sobriety, and someone sharing how the things they went through in their sobriety, from death and divorce and other things. And I thought, I could never imagine going through divorce and not drinking. And I'm here to tell you it's possible. And not only is it possible, it can be one of the most powerful growth opportunities in your life. And I'm not saying, of course, that anyone needs a divorce. Really, what I'm talking to you all about is one of the most powerful opportunities in your life, very likely if you're watching this video, which is how you can change and transform everything from being a drinker and a problem drinker, maybe an excessive drinker, someone that really struggles with the role of alcohol in their life, to someone that is really been able to honor and appreciate all this beauty around us, and to then tap into that and tap into your calling and purpose to really find where happiness and thriving and all of that beauty lies. And the work I've gotten to do and the people I've gotten to experience and the beauty and of the human spirit, being able to transcend incredible trauma, incredible setbacks, incredible pain has been one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. And then to go through what I went through that started 3 years ago, to go through what I've gone through the last 3 years has been one of the scariest and most terrifying experiences, even next to getting sober 11 and a half years ago and leading up to that. And also one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. But it certainly hasn't been easy. And so I want to share a little bit about that today. And I want to share with you maybe a message of hope, of inspiration, of the fact that you and I are no different. And nor are you different than anyone that I've had this beautiful honor to work with in my Insider Circle group, which has now been going on through 7 full teams. They're 12-week teams. And so I started that back in early summer of 2016, ironically, very shortly after my wife and I shared with our daughters we were divorcing. And what came from that was we realized we weren't ready to. And so we actually didn't separate until January 1st of 2017. And what came from that, and what I guess I want to offer all of you as a different way of maybe reflecting on your drinking is, I've shared a lot about my story of drinking and getting sober, and a lot of you have read that and maybe listened to it in the Audible book and whatever, but I want to share a little more about this journey I've had the last 3 years and some of the beauty, but also some of the absolute fear and some of the scariest experiences in my life. And we officially separated January 1st, 2017, so a little over 2 years ago, or 2 years and a few months ago, and that opened up this perfect storm, really, as I'd call it, of pain and suffering. And really, what really opened up and began the start of what I've now heard called a lot as the dark night of the soul. And so Eckhart Tolle and some other amazing teachers talk about this dark night of the soul. And truly, the way it's explained is as clear as it gets to me in my experience, that in the dark night of soul, in our pain and suffering, we have two choices. We can tap into the beautiful resources we have inside, these gifts we've been given, our spiritual power, our spiritual awakening, and find that strength over time and move out of the dark night of the soul into this beautiful new way of seeing and experiencing the world. Or it can kill us, and it can absolutely destroy our life as we know it, and some of us will never survive it. And that's the real truth I faced in about as big a way possible, that experience. And I knew that there was no one but myself that could save myself. And I knew there was nothing that I could do other than get on the train that was unstoppable and just realize this is happening for me, not to me. And that's scary, about as scary as it ever gets, and as scary as I've ever been. I would wake up in the fetal position sobbing in the middle of the night, just, feeling this loneliness and sadness. Letting go of a marriage of 27 years has been the hardest thing in my life, who I thought was my soulmate. And this beautiful person, she is a beautiful person still, but the divorce got really hard, really ugly, and really disappointing, and really disappointed myself and how we handled it. However, it was a whole other energy at work, and there are some things that I see now had to happen, some truth that only could come through some pretty crazy acting out by both me and my ex-wife in some ways, and the beauty's there as long as I can accept it and I can forgive myself. And that's the hardest thing, forgiving myself, because I know I hurt my 2 daughters, are 17 and 14 now, and just my light of my life. And that's been the hardest thing, knowing that, but also knowing that this is their life and their journey too. And they have to go through their dark night of the souls when those come, and their pain, because that's how we grow. And the spiritual awakening that's happened over these last 2 years for me has changed everything. I mean, literally changed everything. I had to make this decision that was one of the hardest and easiest decisions of my life, actually, in both, which was cutting off contact with all of my family, not my ex-wife or my kids, but all my parents, my step-parent, my stepdad, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister-in-law, or not sister-in-law, my sister-in-law, and just this immediate family that had to happen. And I guess the only way I can explain it is this family dynamic that I had grown up in had really taken a toll over the years on me and finding myself. And the way things came out, there was only one choice to make, and that was take a year break from all my family. And I'm about 6 months into that. And it's been terrifying and beautiful at the same time. It's been a finding of myself. It's been an experience that I wouldn't change in a million years. And the most amazing part about it is I got to spend this first 6 months with 2 of the most amazing Insider Circle groups of my life, and that became my family. and my support system, and then these volunteers that come in and support these groups. And so Insider Circle, for those who don't know, is this 12-week group that has become my passion and my purpose in life, to help people get sober and to do the work, the deep work that can only be done in relationship. Because we get hurt in relationship as we grow up and go through life. Relationships are what hurt us, and really the relationship with ourselves is the one that hurts us more than any other relationship, because that's what defines how people see us and experience us and how we experience others. And that has to be healed, or it doesn't have to be, but the way we truly heal and move beyond and transcend our challenges and problems is through relationship, but through relationship in a different way. So we're able to experience these challenges and pain in our life in a whole different way that actually heals and transforms the way we've seen the world and the way we see the world, and allows us to come back to the present, really to forgive. And when we forgive, we truly forgive, we come back to the present moment. And when we're in the present moment, this is what we get to sometimes experience. And it doesn't have to be this beautiful to experience the beauty of nature and the beauty of life and the mystery and experience and synchronicity of everything. I've been blown away at this journey I've been on the last 2 years, because every time I let go and surrender to what I'm experiencing and the gifts I'm getting, it becomes more powerful and more congruent, and I become more connected to this soul's energy that I know I have, that is truly just trying to express itself and break free of all of my ego and all of my false self and all of this person that has been holding me back. The wounds I've had in this lifetime that I don't need protection from anymore. That actually, matter of fact, that's the last thing I need. What I need is to share my authentic self in vulnerable ways. And so my journey, my next stage of this journey started here in Kauai. I got here for April 1st, and I'm here for the whole month of April. And it came at a decision. It came it came after a decision that I thought I could have never imagined making in a million years. And that was a decision to give up custody of my children, give up full custody, at least for the time being, because there was so much pain and hurt that was going on in the whole divorce and that process. And every message I got said, I have to walk away for a little bit. Not completely from my daughters. I talk to them, text them every day, talk to them, and I'm connected to them in this way that's as beautiful as it can be in my heart and my mind. But at the same time, doing make the decision I made, it would have never came in any kind of normal sense of the word. The only way I could have made that decision was going through what I went through and reaching these levels of darkness, where in that darkness, I got answers that were so clear to me, they couldn't be denied anymore. They couldn't be overlooked. And so, because when I did deny it, boy, things got 10 times worse. And that's hard to explain if you haven't been through it. And certainly one I couldn't have heard probably before I went through all of this. However, it's funny, as I went through this divorce and realized the 27 years of attachments I had towards my ex-wife and I, towards the experience I had, towards my happiness, and really believed who made me and what made me successful and who I was and my identity. It's when all that got ripped away that I got to find out who I really was. And it's both beautiful and scary, because here I am. I just turned 47 on April 8th. So I got to turn 47 in this amazing place, and I got to do it, sharing the experience with this amazing group of people that only came into my life through this suffering and challenges I went through, that all of a sudden left this beautiful opening for new people to come into my life. And from that opening, again, these are the gifts I've gotten. And so I actually got to celebrate my birthday on this island with some of these amazing people in this amazing way. And it's something that it has given me courage and strength, as so many other things have during this process of incredible pain and suffering. And I mean, I've come to really love and own what I think Friedrich Nietzsche said, when the famous psychologist, when he said, through our suffering is our access to spirituality. And the spiritual awakening that I've been on the last 2 years has changed me forever. And April, like this month here, and being here in April is so powerful, because my birthday was April 8th. As next Thursday is when we first told our kids we were divorcing, my ex-wife and I. Next Tuesday is the day that Brian Duke took his life, and Brian Duke's who I dedicated the book to. And I've seen so much suicide and suicide ideation and so much pain in people's lives and my own life. And so when I really think back of this anniversary next week around Brian Duke and the book being dedicated to him, and this person that took his life in his pain and in his relapse, and had these two kids the same age as mine, and these kids have had to grow up without a father, at least their birth father. And I feel so blessed that I get to even share this with you and to share this experience with you, and that my kids get to still have their father in their life. And they were terrified over the last couple of years that maybe I wouldn't make it beyond this, because that's how much pain was around us, and how much sadness and suffering. And in addition, not just that suicide of Brian Duke this month, but my daughter's had to watch in the class above her. She's a junior in the senior class. I think 4 or 5. I think it's 5 kids have committed suicide in that class over the years. And there's actually been all this suicide in our school and area. At one point, we had 2 kids kill themselves within one day of each other in our school system. 3 if you just go out to the next school system over, and just some things that are unthinkable and scary. And I think back about when I was a kid and the pain I was in, and the suffering I went through, and I think, boy, if I had knowledge about suicide and all these and homicide and all these ways that we as a society try to deal with our pain because we're so hurting, I would have been highly at risk too. And because it's become normalized. But it's a side conversation and not, because why I'm here talking to you is that if you're here listening to this video and you found me through the drinking, it's very possible you're struggling with suicide ideation, which suicide ideation is just where you think about it a lot. Maybe you're not going to actually do it, but it enters your mind a lot. Like, it entered my mind a lot these last 2 years. I knew I wouldn't actually act on it, but and the only reason I knew I wouldn't act on it was because I wasn't drinking and I didn't have a gun in the house. If I had a gun in the house and I was drinking, it might have happened. And that's what Brian Duke taught me, is that when you drink and you have a shotgun in your garage, and also you have kind of this you already have a loaded gun when you've already went to rehab and your family's already seen you struggle and suffer through drinking, that when you do actually relapse, especially him as a brain surgeon, his whole life in that moment felt like it was gone, because he could have lost his job, and maybe would have, and he would have had to find a whole new way of living and being. And he was this brilliant doctor, and brilliance and intelligence are one of the things that lead to addiction. I've found that so clear. And so in this video, I want to share some of the beautiful insights I've gotten from the work I get to do in Insider Circle, but also this kind of second dark night of the soul for me. Like, the first one was really getting sober. This next one was breaking free of these attachments that I've had in life around my marriage and what that meant. And one of the amazing gifts I can tell, that I can share with more authenticity than anything else, is that when you keep showing up, no matter how much pain you're in, when you keep trying to just be vulnerable and express it and share it, when you keep trying to ask for help, which is one of the hardest things for most of us to do, is to ask for help. A lot of us that come into this are great at giving help. We're fantastic at that. But when it comes to asking for help, we struggle and suffer in this huge way. And so when we are able to actually ask for help and show up and keep doing that work, what we get back is some of the most beautiful opportunities to grow, learn, love, connect that I've ever experienced in my life. And that I can say without any question, any doubt. And that's because it changes you in this way that allows you to forgive and let go of everything. Let go of all this judgment and blame and anger and negativity and all these unconscious patterns that really keep recreating the pain and recreating the sadness. And all of that, as we know, recreates that incredible draw to alcohol and keeps us going back to numb out or to hide out or to isolate. And so a couple things I want to share with you is that it doesn't have to be that way, but I know how scary it is. The reason I made Insider Circle, the reason I created it, was because I love the book, I love the forum, I love all of that. And despite of the fact that I've done a pretty poor job, to say the least, supporting that site through my pain and suffering I've kind of went through the last couple of years, which I have every intention of changing that wholeheartedly. And I want to apologize, just really apologize, because it really has been hard to know I've kind of let myself down. But I also realize and accept that I had to let myself down, and we all have to let ourselves down at times, to really let go of all this judgment and energy we have towards others. When I went through this divorce, I realized, wow, the friends of mine that went through divorce, I wasn't there for them. And I actually called a bunch of them and apologized, because I realized what kind of pain they might have been going through if it was anything like I was. And that, boy, they needed me more than ever, and I might not have been there in a way I could have been there, but I also knew I couldn't really understand them. And that's the beauty of Insider Circle and the work I do, is that I understand you, I see you. You're not alone. And that's the biggest message I can say. You're not alone. Because your ways of struggling and suffering are very similar to mine, and very similar to all the wonderful people that come into Insider Circle. Every group, they come in feeling alone, desperate, maybe scared, unsure, and they realize, wow, there's a lot of people just like me. And not only that, there's a lot of people just like me that have gotten to the other side, that I can look in their eyes, or in this experience inside a circle, I can hear in their voice and read in their posts and connect with them in our trainings, where I believe and know what's possible. And I see that because in Insider Circle, we bring in these volunteers that have also done the group prior to that, some many times. And so we got this combination of volunteers and then participants, and then my work and my staff's work, and this amazing stress consultant, one of the most amazing psychologists, somatic therapists I've ever worked with, who volunteers his time because he's found it so rewarding. And then all these other people that have come to this group and really give back in these ways that I'm truly in awe of. The beauty and the energy. And so I want to share a couple things for you that might help you right away, and that really might give you value, because that's what I love to do. I really learned in this life that there's nothing, I had a lot of competitive energy in previous years, a lot of win-lose energy, and that thankfully has been released. And all I feel is a need and desire to give and share whatever truths I've come to. And I know that just connects me in this beautiful way, and connects me to who I really am, and allows me to be free, and hopefully will give you some encouragement and hope as well. So one of the first things I like to tell people is, like, when we started Insider Circle 3 years ago, I didn't realize this method of getting sober that would come about. And because it's very different than I would have ever really thought, because, I never had experienced it, but through this learning, what I learned in this group, I realized how powerful it was. And it really just reminds me of this simple idea that the way we approach and achieve all these amazing goals in our life, and I get all these amazing people that come to Insider Circle through my connection with Jack and whatnot, these people that are CEOs and high-level executives, or even just stay-at-home moms, but incredibly intelligent, incredibly gifted, and through that intelligence and through their gifts and through all of what they had to go through to get to that place, they lose sight of that. They lose sight of that beauty they have, some of that, and what they have to offer. And so when we look back in our life and we say, what are these goals that I've achieved? What are these things I've done that I'm really proud of? What are the things that I've been able to move past setback and obstacles and get to the other side? And you look at it pretty universally, there are two things that you'll find are accurate with that. One is that it took incredible perseverance. You'd have to fall down and get back up over and over again, because you had to learn certain things. You had to learn things to do it in a different way. You had to experience something one way, realize it wasn't going to get you the results, and then adjust your approach and experience another way. And then the other piece that is, when we think about these amazing things we've accomplished, it's usually pretty rare that these accomplishments are things we've celebrated alone or weren't connected to other people. And so what I want to offer to you is to look back in your life and look at some of these achievements you've accomplished that feel really rewarding and meaningful to you. And then also look at the connection to others, how that was celebrated, honored, or achieved. Sometimes it's others that help you. Sometimes it's others that you can't wait to share your success with. And sometimes it's just simply other people around you kind of motivating you and inspiring you in this mirror effect where you're seeing things in them and learning and all this beautiful stuff. No matter what it is, there's often these themes that are so critical for your success. But we lose all of that when we try to get sober, because sometimes the first thing we do when we're trying to get sober is we fall down once, we relapse, we struggle, and then we tell ourselves a story that says, I cannot get sober, I'm going to fail, I'm going to be a loser drunk my whole life, I can't do it, maybe others can, I just can't. And that story is one that's different than a story we've told ourselves on every other goal we've accomplished, because every other goal we realize, okay, we're going to fall down. That's life, right? I mean, I can't accomplish a big goal. A goal is not going to be rewarding if I just kind of go over there and pick it up and it's done, right? A goal is rewarding, an achievement is rewarding and fulfilling, because we have to push past pain, push past setback, and find our way. And that's why it's so critical that we look at how we've approached our sobriety in comparison to how we've achieved all of our other goals. And for most, if not all of us, it's the biggest difference is that we have this story we tell ourselves every time we fall down that sets us back in this huge way, and sometimes sets us back in a way we can't get back up, instead of realizing that I'm going to fall. And a matter of fact, maybe I should even be more strategic around how I fall and intentionally fall, or at least when I fall, really pay attention to what I need to learn instead of getting caught in my shame cycle. And one of the hardest things that saddens me in some ways is the experience in AA. I love Alcoholics Anonymous. It has changed the lives of millions. A free program like that existing is unbelievable. However, one of the things that's the hardest thing for me to see is so many meetings have this energy around, you have to quit forever. And that quit forever kept me out of the AA rooms forever, practically, until I hit some real dark spots. Because anyone that is struggling with drinking is going to struggle incredibly hard with this idea that I have to quit forever. And it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve you at all. And so the first thing I give you is don't say that. Just, literally, day at a time, which I do love. AA talks about a day at a time, but at the same time, when you do drink and come back in the rooms, I've done that quite a few times. And every time it felt pretty brutal. Like people were not like kind and be like, what did you learn? How did it feel? Instead people like would drink and then they would disappear for a month or two because they would go into this deep, dark relapse and just fully like, oh, if I'm going to drink once, I might as well just make the most of it. And I'll drink the rest of the month. And that's truly what happened. In Insider Circle, I've discovered it doesn't have to be that way at all, because when we change our energy around the drinking, when we actually realize that these falling down is going to happen. And in fact, maybe I even want to test the water after I've had some sobriety to learn about what my experience is like. And when I start doing that, I start taking the shame and guilt away. When I take the shame and guilt away, I take away one of these main reasons that we continue to build our drinking and need for drinking, because that shame cycle that gets bigger and bigger year over year is brutal. And so that's one of the things I want to offer, is that you can change that. And in Insider Circle, we learned that by just trial and error and realizing that people will test out their drinking after 30 days sobriety and have 2 drinks and then say, oh, this isn't going to work for me. That blows my mind. That to me is something that I could have never imagined doing in my testing, because when I drank, I drank. But I watched the same people as very similar energy as me, and I'm like, wow, it's because this works, because we've kind of taken all of our ability to be successful in the rest of our life and forgotten so many of the main rules and ideas and ways of being that we've been successful, and don't apply them to our sobriety. And so that's just huge. And then when in relationship, there's nothing more powerful. And realizing that in others are this beautiful mirror that we get to experience. We get to see the essence of ourself in others and see really how we sabotage, how we create issues. That's where some of this magic of this relationship can work with sobriety, because the relationship we've had with ourselves and others is so much around shame or hiding our true self or being afraid of being vulnerable, and that vulnerability is going to lead to pain, or people are going to use it against us. And instead, with Insider Circle, we create this framework where it's safe. It's safe to experience relationship and to make connection, because it's your voice and your words, but people don't know who you actually are. So you still have an anonymity, truly much more than AA in a lot of ways. But you get the relationship that you so need to solidify and really bring these lessons home and really change who you are, change the way you think, change your habits, and really change your drinking and your life. And really, as you've heard me maybe mark it before, when you change your drinking, you change your habits and you change your life. You change your drinking, you change your life. And really, this is what it's all about, is finding a pathway to change your drinking. And when you can change your drinking for good and change your relationship with it, you change the relationship with yourself, which then changes the relationship with everyone around you in this beautiful, amazing way. And what I can hope and offer each of you is that this is what you get to give yourself. And this is an opportunity to find yourself through the dark night, to get past the pain, past the suffering, and tap into this beautiful gift that you have. And guess what? When you don't share your gifts that you've been given and blessed with, others suffer. And that's one of the most important lessons I've gotten to learn, is that others suffer if I'm not able to tap in and give the gifts that I've been given and blessed with to give. And I believe every one of us have gifts that we're able to give and share with others. So I offer this video to you to hopefully maybe encourage you and inspire you and give you hope that there's another side. And I'll be following up with other videos around more about Insider Circle if that interests you, but also some really beautiful lessons that I've learned that I believe I can share to maybe help free you from the burdens and prison that alcohol has possibly put you in. And I just thank you again for this beautiful opportunity I have and get to kind of practice becoming the best version of me that I know how to be, by doing this work. And there's nothing more powerful than getting to do this work and share my truth and my pain and my suffering and the beauty that has come from that to people like you, because that's who I was and that's what I needed on the other side. And it continues my journey in the most amazing of ways. So thank you for everything, for helping make my dreams possible by getting to do this work. And thank you for spending time listening to this whole video, and love to all of you. Hey there, here I'm at this other amazing spot. You can see the beach all around me, kind of overlooking, and I just wanted to offer something really quick. So for this first, after this, this first video is over, I want to offer the opportunity for anyone to post any questions that you'd like me to answer, or anything that maybe you have in your mind around, your sobriety, or anything that I can help you with. I'd be happy to try to answer that in the next video, as long as I get it in time and I have time for the next video. So thanks again.